Well, hello.
Hey, you?
Hey, you.
Okay, I got my directions. Okay, I'd like to call the Board of Directors special meeting to order. Oh, wait, Candy. Where's Candy? I think you're gonna have to do the roll call. I think Jim left us.
Kathy Batchelor,
Here.
Dave Barker, Barbara Blake, Candy English, Marge Garneau,
Here.
April Hassan Hillard,
Here?
Bart Hillier, I'm here, Nellie Johnson,
Here.
Bev Lawless,
Here.
Steve Reynolds,
Here.
Lanny Smith, Scott Summers.
Here.
Thank you,
Okay.
Candy.
Okay. You're welcome.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to surprise you.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sorry.
We have some action items today that have to be dealt with. The first action item is nominations and elections of board officers. The board for the 3 new members, you have these little tickies on your table. The first one up will say nominee and the name of the office. So check off only one. You can't vote for all of them. So pick one, fold it in half, and then Chris will come around and pick up your answer. Then it goes back to Nancy, who will figure out how many votes or who came up with what number of votes. Are you going to put it on the screen?
Yes, I am.
Okay, she's going to put it on the screen for us so we can stay tuned into what's happening. And then for the ones who say yes, you'll see in your packet, there's a second one that says elect. So you'll tick off, say there are 3 that get nominated. So you will tick off one of the 3 that were nominated. And then we go through each office that way. Okay? We got it? Okay, we're going to vote. We're going to nominate president. I did tell Chris she can't smack us if we don't hold the things up high enough for her. No, I told her she couldn't whack me in the head for that.
In the way. Get going.
Does that get any bigger, Nancy?
Thank you. Well, sure. We're all friends. Thank you.
Nice job.
Doesn't he look nice in his suit?
Yeah.
We're not used to seeing Scott in a suit. He's usually more casual. He got dressed up for you guys today, so.
Once a year, whether I need it or not.
Is
I-
it the same suit you wore last?
No, last year was navy. I thought about that. This was charcoal.
All
Those are
right.
the only colors you're allowed to wear in the DC area, by the way. And I was wearing suits very regularly in my previous role in the
I'll say
See
something.
how good we are?
Washington DC area.
We're
yeah.
really good to you. We let you wear.
Yeah,
jeans.
well, this is Southern Arizona. It's a different lifestyle.
Okay, are you ready?
We're ready.
I'm kind of hiding back here. I do want you to know that one of the tickets voted for 3 people, and we don't want to vote for 3 people. We want to vote for 1. So that brings us down to 10.
Nominate.
So what, Dave? Oh, would you like to vote again? Here.
You get to
Yeah, could
nominate
somebody charge
one
him a
person.
fine for not listening?
One person.
Oh, that's right. He's one of the newbies. Okay, we'll let him get away with it. We actually have 4 new board members.
Okay.
Dave came on this year, and then April and Steve, and where's Lanny? Yeah, so, you ready?
So we have Kathy Batchelor. Are you willing to serve?
I'm sorry, I went asleep at the wheel there. Yes, I will. Thank you, Nancy.
Okay. Marge Garneau, are you willing to serve?
Yes.
And Bart Hillier, are you willing to serve?
I'd like to commend the intellect and discernment of whoever nominated me. But no, I don't think I will. Thanks.
Oh, okay. So nomination for Kathy Batchelor is on the board and Marge Garneau. There we go.
I can't read them.
6, 4, and 1.
All right. Okay, so the next thing you do is there's 2 for president. So you use the elect president sheet and you nominate one, just one of those 2. You elect one.
Between Kathy and
You elect
Marge.
one.
1.
One, not 3.
Vote early and vote often.
Down. Why are we supposed to read this?
Oh. Yeah. You're doing fine. It's not easy.
Okay, there is on the screen Kathy Batchelor, 6, and Marge Garneau, 5.
No, no, just sit where you are. You're fine. I don't want to have to move all this stuff.
You sure?
Yeah, sit.
That's
Okay.
There's no sense in moving one chair, but I appreciate your election and I would like to say thank you very much to Marge for her last 2 years of leadership. Did a wonderful job. Thank you. Thank you. So the next office for nominations on the sheets in front of you would be for the vice president. If you would so mark. Only one, Dave.
okay. Marge Garneau, are you willing to serve as a vice president? Okay, thank you. Candy English, are you willing to serve as a vice president?
Yes.
And Bart Hillier, are you willing to serve as a vice president?
Again, I'd like to commend the intellect and discernment of whoever nominated me, but no thanks.
Jeez, keep- Hold on. Okay. Okay, so there you go. Candy English 8, Marge 1, and Bart with a no vote got 2.
Okay, so if everyone will take their next little slip and elect a vice president. Yeah, we do. Well, we did this a few years ago where there was one person that had all the votes as a nomination and they didn't do an election. So at the next meeting, we had to do an election. So every person has to be elected. Oh, I'm, s- I'm sorry.
Okay, the votes are on the board. Candy English 8 and Marge Garneau 3.
Congratulations, Candy. Thank you. The next position will be for the secretary nominations, please.
Okay, while it's being tallied, I would like to ask Bev Lawless, would you like to serve as a secretary?
No.
April Hillard, would you like to serve as a secretary?
Yes.
Nellie Johnson, would you like to serve as a secretary?
No.
Bart Hillier, would you like to serve as a secretary?
I want to again commend the intellect and discernment of whoever nominated me, but no, thank you.
Thank you. And let's see. Dave Barker, would you like to serve as a secretary?
No.
Okay. Just
we
a
have to
moment. What do
Yeah.
Shouldn't even have to vote, right?
One.
Yeah.
Two.
You do have to vote, technically.
No, wait a minute. Okay.
My goodness.
Okay, so the votes are on the board and it will be between April and
And-
April.
And April.
April,
Thank you for running,
but we
April.
also need to do an election vote, so
Right.
please vote for April.
So if everyone will mark their election card for the secretary's position, please. I'm so sorry.
There you go, April 11.
Congratulations, April. So the next position will be to nominate the treasurer. You'll mark your cards.
Getting your steps in, huh?
All right.
Okay, Lanny Smith, would you be willing to serve? Bart Hillier, will you be willing to serve?
I'd like to commend again the intellect and discernment of whoever nominated me, but no, thank you.
And Nellie Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, so it will be between Lanny and Nellie for the election of treasurer.
I'm sorry. So it is the election. So Nellie has been elected. I'm sorry. She's nominated. I'm sorry.
She jumped the gun.
That was the election. Now, that's
Okay,
what
so
I
now
thought.
the election is Nellie, yes, is the treasurer.
So the next position would be to nominate the assistant secretary.
Okay, I'll start at the bottom. Lenny Smith, are you willing to serve as Assistant Secretary?
No.
Steve Reynolds, are you willing to serve as the Assistant Secretary?
No.
Bev Lawless, are you willing to serve as Assistant Secretary?
No.
Bart Hillier, are you willing to serve as Assistant Secretary?
First, I want to commend the intellect and discernment of whoever nominated me, but sure, yes.
And Dave Barker, are you willing to serve as Assistant Secretary?
No. Thank you, Bart.
Okay, let me write the scores here. Okay, 4, Bart 2. Bev.
Okay, so we will now mark our cards for the election of the Assistant
Oh,
Secretary.
and
Nope.
And just to let you know, there was one shy. Somebody didn't mark their card.
Okay.
4, 6, 8. Well, how do we have 11 though? Okay.
They don't have to.
Oh, what did
They don't have
4,
to.
2, 2. Okay. Okay.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So 10. Okay, thank you, Bart. You're the Assistant Secretary.
There you go. Right. Can't be Bart cannot be nominated for the next position.
Yeah. Whoever it was that had that intellect and discernment is no longer able to exercise it.
Okay, so we will move on to the Assistant Treasurer, and I'll take your nominations.
There's Bart's. Okay, Steve Reynolds, are you willing to serve as the Assistant Treasurer?
Yes.
And Lanny Smith, are you willing to serve as Assistant Treasurer?
No.
Okay, so Steve Reynolds has agreed to run for the Assistant Treasurer. So if you'll please still mark your last voting card here for Assistant Treasurer.
What did I do? All right, thank you, Steve, as you're elected as the Assistant Treasurer.
Congratulations, Steve. So with the elections, I would like to say thank you for all of you willing to serve. I'm sure we'll all have fun this year. No doubt there will be fun this year, and I think everybody will do a wonderful job. So thank you again for everybody who's willing to serve in the positions of the officers. So with that, let's move on to discussion of the annual calendar. We all received a copy of it. So I would just like to ask if there is anybody that has a change or a question on anything on the calendar, and we'll ask Scott to answer any. Nellie?
Yes, I think there's a typo, just a clarification for May 28th. I believe it's not a Friday, I believe it's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so we can correct that. Then I also do want to speak to the Wednesday, April 16th meeting where we have it announced as tentative. I would like to support that be a regular work session and not be tentative.
Oh, I see. Okay, Marge?
I'd like to propose, you're gonna love this one, that we don't have a meeting every month. I think it's a lot of work for staff to put this together for us. And they, us coming in, I think I counted 27 meetings last year. And there were some that we only had one issue that we had to deal with. So I'm proposing that we go every other month and we don't have one in July. I mean, we can always call them, you know, the two, is it two board members can call a meeting or the president, right? So Kathy can, if she knows there's something that has to happen, she can call a meeting. So I would like to propose that we change the calendar so that we're only going every other month.
Are you saying the odd months or the even months?
Yes.
You're going to meet in April. You want to take May off?
Yes,
Meet in
because
June?
that's my birthday.
Oh,
Madam Chair, can I just raise a point of information?
Sure, go
Are
ahead.
are you
Nellie.
gonna, are we just discussing it at this time and then we're going to approve it at the April meeting? Is that the point of the,
You know,
I believe
think-
it's a
I
point of
think that
discussion?
At this
Correct.
point, we should be discussing it, but as a part of what I would like to make a comment as to what Marge just said. I think it's just as easy to cancel a meeting if we don't find a reason, because we tried that last year and we canceled the whole summer and then we had to reissue 2 meetings during that period. But I would agree with probably the non-July meeting was a good call last year and it would probably work again this year. It also helps with staff to be able to schedule some vacations if they wish. I believe also last year we did not meet in November, but we met earlier in December because of the holidays. So you know, it doesn't bother me at all as to, like with December, to have it later, but a lot of people go home for the holidays in December and sometimes even in November. So to me, to not have a meeting in November would be acceptable and then have just the meeting in December. But, you know, I would prefer to set the meetings with the exception of November and July. And then if we need to cancel them, we don't have any items on the agenda, we can then cancel regular board meetings or workshops if we do not need them. Anybody else? Bart?
I think Marge's idea is a good one. The bylaws require only 4 meetings a year. Your proposal, as near as I can tell, would be 10 meetings in a year or 2.5 times the required minimum. I I prefer, just philosophically, the goal of having roughly 6 meetings a year. And then at least it's not quite so depressing looking at the board calendar if there's only 6 meetings down there, even though, as we've acknowledged multiple times, a meeting can be added here and there if needed. And these are just regular board meetings, by the way. I mean, they don't count the executive sessions, which are, I mean, in a typical year, what we have probably somewhere between, I would say, 3 and 6 executive session meetings, independent of the regular meetings. I like the idea of exercising some discipline and planning, both for the board itself and for Scott and his staff, targeting a meeting roughly every 60 days, which again, I think would be plenty. We aren't going to make that decision today. We'll make that decision in the April meeting, although it's a shame we're stuck with the April meeting. But when the time comes, that will be my motion or my proposal, is that we set a schedule of 6 regular meetings during the year, either in the odd months or the even months, and probably deleting either June or July, just because the summer is a pretty slow time. Thank you.
Nellie?
Thank you. I would like to speak to retaining our monthly meeting schedule except for July and potentially November, December. We have a budget that comes due in the fall, and that requires, if you remember, us meeting in September and October in reviewing those budgets. So to stagger them every 60 days, it doesn't allow us to process our budget. And it's very important that we have timely approval of our membership dues by the end of October. And so the budget calendar that we've operated with for the last, I don't know how many years, I think as well as with the issues that we have in front of us, I believe I would support keeping the schedule except for the July meeting, and then looking at November, December, whether those need to be important. I think it's good to have these on the calendar, and we can always cancel if there are no topics to be taken care of. But I believe with the budget calendar the way it is, the monthly works best.
Thank you. Is there anybody on Candy?
Question. Scott, what about your staff and you? How did you guys weigh in on that proposal to limit the board meetings?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I was just thinking, we have our leadership staff meeting on Thursdays, usually after a board meeting. I think it's a good opportunity for us to review the calendar tomorrow and come up with real reasonable recommendations that we could probably provide to the board in April on when we think that we really could reasonably take a month off and when we really do need to meet as a board. So I think what we would like to do is prepare and present our recommendations at the next meeting, and then you can slice it and dice it any way you want at that point. But I appreciate that you've asked, because yeah, sometimes things do come up, and there's some things that are standard annual things, such as approving the budget generally in October. So I wouldn't recommend you take October off, but you probably could take November off along with July and anything else that we can kind of look at. But that would be my thought, is give us that opportunity to come back with some recommendations that we can present to you in April.
Beth?
I would like to agree with Nellie's concerns about preparing the budget and working with staff on that, and I know that is time sensitive. I also know we have several projects that may or may not happen because of our current budget and the lower home sales, and those discussions need to be held on a timely manner. And I would also like to say that we are not here to do the minimum required. We are here to give our best efforts to the membership, and they deserve that. And if that means meeting every month, then that's what we need to do. If we don't need to meet every month, then you cancel a meeting. But I don't think we should start the year by canceling meetings just because we don't want to have them.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have a comment from the board? Are there any comments from the audience? Anything online, Nancy, with regards to this? Okay,
No comment.
okay. Then, Scott, can we ask you and your staff to review it and bring something back to us in April
Absolutely.
for approval?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Carolyn.
So we will move on to discussing the structure and the selection of committee chairs and committee members. And Scott's going to review that information for us.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. So committee chairs per the bylaws must be a director. You can't have a non-director be a chair of a committee, at least at this point. This is what the bylaws require. Chairpersons are nominated by the president, and then they are subject to approval by the board. So those of you that are interested in a chair position, you should definitely have a conversation with President Batchelor to let her know that you're interested in that. There are two committees that there isn't a rule, but it's been a practice. One is that the vice president has generally been appointed the chair of the Board Affairs Committee, and generally the treasurer has been appointed the chair of the Fiscal Affairs Committee. Now, we don't believe that there is a rule or a governing document or a policy that says that. That's just been the past practice. So that's something that you might want to take into consideration as well. Once you're appointed a chair, and that'll happen at the April meeting, then you as the chair are charged with selecting those committee members. Now, there's been some CPM changes over the years, and the CPM now says that the chair, the president, and the CEO meet to discuss the applicants for each committee, and then develops more or less a slate of recommendations for the board to review. But ultimately, it is still up to the chair of each position or each committee to appoint members of their committee. The CPM does recommend that when you're appointing your members to your committees, that a third of them are new each year, and that that committee participation be limited to no more than 6 consecutive years. Again, these are recommendations. Standing committees, such as those that we're talking about, there's a suggested minimum of 5 members and a maximum of 9 members. GVR members in good standing are the only ones that can be on a committee, and they are required to submit an application. I think as of today, we have 14 applications, but they are required to submit an application. Board members may be on a committee, and in fact, they're encouraged to sit on a committee. And if I recall, a board member cannot be on more than 2 committees. So if you're interested in sitting on a committee but not being a chairperson, you can speak with the chair once you actually know who the chair of that committee is and express your interest in sitting on that committee. Let's see here. I think that's essentially it. Committees aren't required to follow Robert's Rules of Order, although it is recommended. Meetings of committees are set by the chairperson. So if the chair wants to have a meeting every week, they can do it. They're conducted as needed, but not less than quarterly. All directors may attend committee meetings, whether they are opened or closed. So we have to treat all of our committees the same. We have to inform our membership that a meeting of a committee is being held, where it's being held, and if it's being opened or closed. The committee chair can decide if the meeting is going to be opened or closed. But regardless, board members may attend any committee meeting that they want to. All materials for committee meetings are generally available 3 days before the meeting. We try to get those out Friday before the week before, just like we do a board meeting. And I think that is it. What questions do you have for me? Okay,
Question?
yes.
In the CPM, each board director, as you commented, can serve on a committee. And so is it I don't know if I heard it right. Do we then, if we're interested in serving on a committee, submit our application to Nancy, or do we let the president know, or do we let the chair know?
You know,
What
if
would
you're
be the
wanting to
process?
participate on a committee and not be the chair, you would let the chairperson of that committee know. We've only really started the application process that's a little bit more formal in the last few years. I like the idea, and there's no rule that says this, that a board member who wants to sit on a committee should submit an application as well. I think that makes sense. It's easier because then we know exactly who's applying to be on that committee. So I would recommend it.
Okay. My
Um,
second question is on G, in the CPM. Last year, I thought, the president and the CEO and the chairs implemented a very good process where all the chairs got together with the CEO and the president to review the application so that you could see across all 6 committees who was applying for what, and you could do some balance. So it wasn't as if it was just the one single chair, the CEO and the president. It was all the chairs meeting. And I would strongly encourage that process be used again this year. I thought it worked really well last year that President Gunhow did that.
Thanks, Nellie. Are there any other questions? I'd just like to add, it doesn't say anything in the CPM, but I think just as a matter of courtesy, it probably should say in the CPM that regardless of whether a committee chair is going to call a committee open or closed, it needs to be posted, regardless if it's going to be closed. So just a reminder that when we have committee meetings, they need to be posted. They need to be given to Nancy so that she can post them for all members. And if they're closed, then all members can't come, but it's still posted, but the board members can still attend if they so choose. And with that, I would appreciate hearing from board members, either in person, or you can call me, or you can send me an email as to your preference if you would like to be a chair of a committee. If you just do it verbally, I can keep track of that. But if you're still thinking about it, then please let me know. And if you would please, by next Monday, the 31st, I would like to hear from any board members that would like to chair a committee. Anybody have anything else to add to that? Okay. Then I think at this point, we can move on to member comments if there are any. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, Nancy, do we have anybody that wants to make a comment? Okay. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, Bart Hillier has made the motion and Barbara Blake has seconded it. All those in favor? Unanimous. So thank you very much for everybody today, and we'll see you next week. 11:20, okay.